Hey, yo, Dave,
What's
Patty.
up, man? Hey, Patty.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Welcome back, guys, to the Who F and Knows podcast, edition 4621. Uh,
The official podcast of people who bring their carts back to the cart thing at the grocery store because they're decent humans.
Fuck yes. That is that is the measure of what makes someone a decent human being. Like legitimately.
That is the
I
number one thing I'm going to teach my son as being a man.
Yeah. By the way, guys, when we do these things, the official podcast of blah blah blah, it's totally off the cuff. So I had no idea what he was going to say just now. I didn't even know he was going to say one. I had one queued up.
Well, go ahead, give me
No,
yours.
I'll say mine for next time. It's fine. Yours is better.
All right.
But
Okay.
no, that is it's funny because I there was somebody I knew a long time ago, and excuse me because I'm getting over a sickness. I might take a cough drop while we're sitting here. Um,
In case
they
y'all
were
can't tell, we're not together.
no, we're not together. Um, they were basically like, yeah, that is the measure of like what makes someone a decent human being. Are you going to go put a cart back to not inconvenience other folks? Like, I don't know. It's
I
just
agree.
something that's ingrained in me. Love it. Oh fuck, that threw me so off because I had in my head I was like rolling through these different things I was going to say to start, but that's awesome. In case you guys can't tell, we're not together, like he just said. I am in quarantine. I had COVID and flu. I'm one of those lucky people on the tail end of it. So I am still alone, but fortunate to see Dave's lovely face here.
Hey, buddy.
So, Dave, I know we talked about it a little before. I was going to ask you, have you ever been in quarantine?
Yeah, so like I just telling you, I caught COVID when it was running rampant. Um, well, I think it was the first year of it. I had to quarantine for 10 days, and my wife decided that um, I had to be alone. So the original plan was I was going to be locked in the office for 10 days while they were just throughout the house, and that felt ridiculous. So she had to stay home from work anyway. Her work told her the rule was if you come in contact, you have to stay home regardless. So they left and went to her mom's, her and my son. And then she decided was also going to take the dogs from me so that I was completely alone in the house. So it's just me by my lonesome, which was cool for about 3 days. And then it was just, I was losing my mind. I couldn't do it anymore. If I had my dogs, I might have been okay, but she took my dogs.
Were you actually sick? Like, did you feel bad?
I had no like actual like sickness stuff like the cough or whatever. I had the only thing I did was lost my smell.
Oh
and
yeah.
and I had the shortness of breath. Like I couldn't wasn't like severe, but when I had to call work and tell them, like I had to keep pausing after like every sentence, and the chick was like, "Is that like really causing you to be like that?" I was like, yeah, this is a struggle.
Damn.
But yeah, I never had the cough or anything. I never lost my taste, lost my smell, which made things taste worse.
Yeah.
Just in general, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
Cool. Yeah. No, I was just curious. Nobody understands that like the worst part of quarantine is just like sitting here with nothing to do by
Right.
yourself.
Yeah.
So figured we put that in the universe.
Yeah, you can deal with
Um,
this. You can deal with a sickness. It's
yeah,
just like a cold, but
yeah.
yeah,
Well, this too, not to go too deep into this because there's probably other shit we could be talking about, but
yeah.
this too, when it was like Sunday, I went to the Saints game. I had just come back from a work trip. So like I was traveling, I was maskless, which obviously around all these random people in airports and in Atlanta. And by the way, Atlanta's aquarium is fucking dope. Just side note there. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Atlanta or you like aquariums, but check it out. I'm talking like whale sharks coming over your head and like
Okay.
fucking yeah. I don't know. I'll geek out on that stuff. My wife talked me into going, but I loved it. Anyways, Monday I was like feeling like shit. I was like, I don't know. I went to ER. I went to urgent care because I couldn't get an appointment. And they test me, and I'm thinking like I just have some common cold. My daughter's bringing home shit all the time. They both just got over something they never got tested for, um, which is probably this. But then they come back in the room after testing me for like everything, and they're like, "Yeah, you have COVID and the flu." And I'm like,
Mm.
and he looks so serious. And I look at the doctor, and I'm like, I didn't know what to say, so I just kind of was like, "Are you telling me I'm gonna die?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, what do I do with this information?
So
Um,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I had no idea what to say because I didn't feel like I was, as bad as he was looking at me. Um, and I never did get that bad, to be fair. I had fever and I was like run down, but nothing
I,
terrible.
I don't want to keep like staying on COVID because we got shit, but um, I have a funny story about how I found out I had it too. It's like I lost my smell, and like the way I knew to go get tested was Courtney was cleaning the bathroom and she was using bleach. And I walk in the bathroom, I'm like, "What are you doing?" So I'm cleaning the bathroom. I said, "Are you using that?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, that ain't fucking
Shit.
good." So, but I go get tested, and I'm just chilling in the room, just waiting for them to come give me the results. And the woman walks in and she just starts spraying Lysol in the room. And she was like, she looks at me, she goes, "Oh, this is the wrong room." She was like, "I'm sorry, wrong room," and left. They were spraying like the whole hallway because I had tested positive. And then they like started spraying my room. They thought I was gone already. So they just started spraying it. I'm just sitting there like,
Did you smell
so
that? Did you taste
no,
it?
no, I did taste it, but that's how I knew I was good. They hadn't told me I tested positive yet, but because they came in and just started spraying the room right away, I knew that it was going to be positive.
I
But
love it. I
yeah,
fucking love it. Yeah, they handed me a mask and gave me a look, and I was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." um, anyways, let's move on from COVID. What was that drink you posted to the timeline?
so it's not a drink. It is so it's supposed to be Christmas tree cakes, but apparently we're already moving on to Valentine's Day
Nice,
in
nice.
Walmart. So uh I
Capitalism.
yeah, I bought zebra cakes, just put some icing over the stripes so that you couldn't see it, and sprinkle some red and green. But anyway, so it's a couple scoops of ice cream on the bottom, some
Mhm.
crushed up zebra cake, Christmas, tree cake in the middle, a little more sprinkles, another couple scoops of ice cream, some whipped cream, and then a zebra cake on top
I
with some
love it.
icing around the edge. So yeah, it's more of a or just ice cream, not a shake. But
It was
it's a
gorgeous.
thank you. It's a Christmas in our household tomorrow, so we had to get into the Christmas spirit.
I feel you. We are preparing. I've been locked in this room, but I went and stole some wrapping paper. I'm finally going to wrap my wife's gifts here after we finish this. And then hopefully I won't get a fever tomorrow and I'll be able to actually spend Christmas with my family, which I have not been able to do for the last 2 years. Fun
Mm,
fact, because of COVID. Um, we'll leave that alone. Moving on.
right.
Oh man. So I know we had a few things we could talk about here. Let's just jump into the Pelicans as a whole. I know that we'll get into transfer portal with college football. That's something else I want to talk about. For anybody that's sticking around, thank you. Um, but watching the game tonight and other games down the stretch of the couple losses we had there. Fortunately, we turned it around tonight. But why does it feel like we're such a poor rebounding team? And I ask it like that before you answer. I ask it like that. Let me throw some stats at you. We're actually seventh in the NBA in rebounding. So by the numbers, I wouldn't say we're poor. I had to look all this up because I was like, no way. And ninth, if you want the advanced rebounding like percentage stats, we're ninth in rebounding percentage.
Well, where are we at on defensive rebounding?
That's a good question. I didn't look it up because I
Because
I had
that's what feels like a struggle to me.
yeah I
Is that the teams are getting so many second chance points, which could be wrong, or maybe it's because it happens at like the most inopportune times. You know
I
what I
agree.
mean?
I
I mean, Jonas is like top. I looked the other day. Jonas is top 15 in rebounds in the league. So I mean, maybe he's just carrying us that much. I don't know.
it's possible. I mean, I know Zion gets his rebounds. A lot of them are offensive. It seems like I feel like when I'm watching, I feel and actually AD called attention to this tonight, and I was already thinking I hate when they do it because I'm thinking I'm gonna come on the podcast and talk about something nobody else is talking about, and then boom, it's done. It seems like guys aren't boxing out; they're just assuming JV or somebody's going to get a rebound, and then they're leaking out. They're just trying to run, or if they're still down there, they half-ass box out. They kind of watch the ball fall. They don't attack it. It just seems like they're not thinking to rebound. You know what I mean? It's like it's not ingrained in their brain. They don't realize they need to attack the ball.
No, you can see like when we play other teams, like their wings are coming flying in for rebounds. stuff like that. And we got JV down there just working hard as shit to get a board. You know what I mean? Like he's a great rebounder, but he's working so hard. It's always like him versus 2 or 3 people.
Poor guy, and he's always throwing his arms
Yeah, and then
around
he
and fucking.
and then all I'm sure he doesn't get on Twitter, but if he did, all he would see is people wanting to trade him. Like
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. People that want to trade Jonas don't realize what we had before him. Okay,
yeah,
let's go back a few. We could take Steven Adams back. I
yeah.
guarantee you won't want him.
He's a good rebounder.
He
For
is,
what it's
but
worth.
he's not
Yeah,
going to do anything else.
he ain't dropping 8 threes or whatever it was in a game. That's for damn sure.
He damn sure ain't doing that. He'll give you some of the same defense, maybe a little better defense occasionally. Not to harp on Steven Adams, but even going back before that, you know, you go to Favors, you go to who was here before Favors? Emeka Okafor. I don't remember who the hell our centers were.
Well, you had
Boogie.
You had Boogie and AD for a stint, but
true.
That was about it.
I'm talking, yeah.
It
was an anomaly.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I think I bet you if you look at the numbers like you're saying on like in every area of rebounding, we're probably one of the better teams. I mean, you don't end up being where we're at in our rankings, being a bad team in like any aspect. You know what I mean? So we're probably a decent rebounding team overall, but I think it's like I said, I feel like it's on the defensive end. 2 things that I've noticed, like for us defensively, is we don't get defensive rebounds, or at least it feels that way. And then I don't think there's a team in the league that leaves more people open from 3, like wide open than us. Like that's the most frustrating thing on earth. It feels like people are getting wide open threes against us, and then they don't miss. That's what happens with the Jazz. We asked what happens when we play the Jazz. That's what happens when we play the Jazz.
Man, the Jazz are just long, to be honest. Like they give us fits. They match up well against us, and we don't defend them well.
I caught flack for saying they'd give us hell in the playoffs. Did you see that?
I did, but I mean, you're not wrong. Like the proof is in the pudding. Look at the way
I know I'm not to be cocky. I know I'm not wrong. Like we haven't beat them.
Now, granted, we haven't played them with a fully healthy roster ever,
of course.
But like we haven't played anybody with a fully healthy. Well, maybe we played like one team. What was like the first game of the year? And that was it. I don't think we've had a fully healthy roster, but like 1 or 2 games the whole year. Yeah. That's the numbers I'd like to see.
Yeah.
On top of that, you did bring up an interesting point. I was curious as to like if we could find it. I'm not good at looking up these stats, like the advanced stats. I see like guys like Schmidt and like other guys, like some guys at Boot Crew are really good at finding a lot of those advanced stats. I would really want to know like second chance points, like how many second chance points we're giving up off of offensive rebounds to the other team. Like we're not getting defensive rebounds. I think that's something that would possibly speak to it. Like if I had to bet, and I'm not a betting man because I lose at that shit. If I had to bet, I would say it's not great. But I don't know. It's just the eye test. It sucks. Like it sucks seeing them crash the boards and us not box out and them getting rebound after rebound after rebound.
Yeah. With that being said, though, we're still top 2 in the West.
Oh yeah, I'm just bitching.
That's it. Yeah. So it's I don't know. So you wanna talk about what I mentioned beforehand about the Pels?
Yeah, go for it.
So, well, you said you didn't watch too much of you haven't seen much of the losing streak, right? You said you've been kind of.
Yeah. No, I was out of town a good bit. I watched a little bit here and there, but I wasn't able to actually pay attention or rewatch anything.
So a big talking point was, I mean, I know you're always on Twitter, so I know you've seen it. You actually tweeted about it. Is lineup changes.
Yeah.
Now, let's preface it by saying I'm sure it's more of a prisoner of the moment thing. We lost 4 straight, so everybody's looking for what needs to be changed. You know what I mean? But I do think there is some validity to it. And you and I we just started talking about maybe CJ's the one who needs to come off the bench. But then people start talking, and I'm reading, and what do you think about Herb moving?
Yeah, I
to the bench, replacing Herb with Dyson.
It feels blasphemous, right? Because like I love what he gave us last year, but you can't. If I'm speaking logically, which I like to do, I like to make logical decisions. I think the things that were put on Twitter recently are like make a good point, right? Like a lot of the final plays that were shared down the stretch where they're basically just like leaving Herb and building a wall against Zion, and Herb's not knocking down his shots. It sucks. Do I want to change the lineup right now? I don't know if like Dyson's necessarily going to hit those shots either. Like
He
maybe.
he doesn't seem the bit. So what I said was, if you take Herb out and put Dyson in, defensively, you don't lose anything. You may even get slightly better because Dyson is, I mean, he's there. He's there. What and what, you know?
Yeah.
So, but offensively, I think Herb's best, like to the basket game, driving to the basket game is decent. But Dyson, I mean, Dyson's a point guard,
Right.
so he's just better at that aspect of it. He's a better passer than Herb is, which is not. This isn't knocks on Herb. That's not what his position is. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
And and it feels like when Dyson get open looks, more times than not, he knocks them down. Like he's not. I'm sure he's not shooting 50% from three, but I think it's like mid 30s, low 40s from
Yeah.
three, which is gotta be. I'm not. I haven't seen Herb's numbers, but I know it's not that.
It's I think Herb's
Yeah.
I think Herb's shooting like 32% or something like that, if I recall.
Yes. So it's like I don't. I don't know. Maybe it's if you put Dyson in that role and he gets and you like extrapolate his minutes out to Herb's minutes, it kind of evens out offensively. You know what I mean? Like what he if he plays those extended minutes, maybe it's not sustainable what he's doing on offense.
Yeah.
But
I
I don't know. I don't
listen,
know.
I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting conversation. I think right now it's not pointless, it's not meaningless, but I think that those games you're looking at were down the stretch. Herb was like being counted on to hit some big shots. If you have BI back in the lineup, like that's not a problem. And Herb's known as a guy that's going to work on those things. Like I don't know if I would necessarily like change the lineup because you went on a skid, but it is alarming
But
to
even in
say the
the
least.
yeah, even in the wins, like we've said, there was like the 7 game win streak. We were hot. Like everybody was hot. But even in some of our wins earlier in the year, like Herb's offense isn't there, which he's not ever going to be a top tier offensive guy. He's, I think, best case scenario for Herb is he's Draymond.
I mean, yes, I'm cool with him being Tony Allen. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Not to take it that far back, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
like, yes, I want him to be Draymond, but come
Like
on.
he's not. If you leave him in the lineup, like I think it's fine. Like you say, when you have your full starters, like I think it's fine. And then you got Dyson running the second unit with Jose and Trey. Like that's great. But I don't know. I feel like there is the a chance that putting him in there like takes the starter lineup to the next, like to another level. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's possible. You
And
can tinker with it.
then if you start thinking like, I mean, we're looking at this season right now, but if you start thinking long term, you're not going to keep all these players.
Right.
And if you're going to keep one, I think it's going to be Dyson over Herb.
Do you think the decision is between Dyson and Herb?
Well, we're talking like of the young guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not true. I mean, you're keeping Trey
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, he's had a little rough patch, but what his year 1 to year 2 leap is ridiculous. So, I mean, Trey is the one. I think now maybe you can't afford him if he gets to be that good, but I'd imagine you keep in Trey, and then I don't know who else. I mean, you already got Jose for cheap, so he's not going anywhere. Who else would it be between?
No, I mean it. I don't know. I was just presenting the question. If you're
Maybe you
if
can't.
you're
Go
if
ahead.
you're just talking about their games, I mean, obviously, like Dyson's 19, doing the same things, maybe better than Herb, who's what 25, 24.
I have no
He's
idea.
old. He's older.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't
and
know. It's a good good
this
problem
ain't
to
me
have.
trying to get rid of Herb like
No, no,
at
no.
all. It's just present the idea of. I mean, at some point, like you want to take your lineup to the next level, and that just feels like maybe that's the move. But like we keep saying, we haven't been healthy, so if maybe you wait until you can get a decent stretch of everybody playing healthy and see if that starting five just looks better
Yeah,
before you make any drastic change. Because once you take Herb out of the starting lineup, like you almost can't go back. You know what I
you
mean?
You can, but that's definitely going to mess up some chemistry. Like you're then you start talking like psychologically
Yeah.
impacting these players' games, you know?
And I mean, just because you take him out of the starting lineup doesn't mean you necessarily mess his minutes up. You know what I mean? Like he
No,
might just
yeah.
it's just a better maybe it's just a better fit with Dyson in there is all. It's not I mean you could still start Dyson and then have her play more minutes. Like it's not, you know what I mean?
I think the question that we were getting at really was more of like who's closing, right? Because like the problems you were having were down the stretch at the end
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
game when you're looking for that shot and they're triple teaming Zion and basically just completely disrespecting a guy like Herb. Like, how do you overcome that? Is it
Yeah.
taking him out of the lineup? Is it him getting better? Is it like how do you overcome that? You know?
I I mean, yeah, when you put it that way, like your starters in a sense don't even matter,
Mm.
right? It's more of your situational lineups that matter. And when you're looking at the closing lineup, I don't know how you can keep Herb in there if he's not hitting the shots, 'cause he's getting looks. He's
He's
but
gonna. Any
but
whoever's somebody's gonna get a look. With Zion on
I
the floor like that at the end of the game, like somebody's gonna get a clean look.
and just me personally, I trust Dyson to hit the shots more than Herb.
That says a lot. I mean, I'm not saying I don't, right? And I'm not sitting here saying that I respect Herb's 3-point
Yeah.
prowess because it doesn't really exist right now. Um,
No.
but that says a lot, being that Dyson's, a rookie. He's been thrust into some big moments, and he definitely
Yeah.
has not looked like a rookie. Um, I don't know. Like, I'm one of those people. Like, you could sway me either way on this topic. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. That's what's weird is if you asked me like this question like last year, hypothetically, I mean, obviously we didn't have Dyson, but like Herb was a solid 3-point shooter. He kind of felt like it was the same as Dyson. Like if he gets a wide open look like that, he was gonna knock it down. And it's just not falling for him right now. So maybe it's a rough patch. And like you're saying, we just ride it out. And maybe if it comes to at the All-Star break, if it's still this bad, like then maybe
Yeah.
you make a change. Hopefully, you can find a way to keep everybody healthy and see if this fucking lineup works together.
Well, that's the problem, right? Like, you
Dude,
can't. Who knows? I think they're fine. I'm still not concerned. Let's move on though. Like, now that
yeah.
we're kind of talking basketball, I'm sitting here saying I'm not concerned. Um, did you see John Morant, his comments about not being worried about anybody in the West?
Yep. Did you see Stephen A's response to it?
I did, but I don't like giving Stephen A credit for much.
Me either. But I do like that.
I do.
Even though it's him, like it's people are mentioning us.
Yeah,
Like
no.
dude, before this year, nobody's ever mentioned it. Oh, but he forgot the Pels.
Yeah. I'm still listen, and I'm also one of those people that like I hate when people gatekeep. And I don't want to sit here and gatekeep, but like Stephen A of all people, like it's like he's one of the main people that just used to dog the shit out of the Pelicans. Like I
Yeah.
don't and I listen, I know he's there to say wild shit and that's how he gets his money. I don't know, man. It just feels nasty. I don't
Yep.
like it.
So do you have a problem with Josh saying that?
Yeah, I think there's multiple teams in the West he should be worried about, not just the Pelicans.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you, but like if Brandon Ingram got up there and was like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
hell no.
we're the
Yeah.
best team in the West,"
No.
like all I'm worried about is the Celtics. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like I don't have a problem with him thinking like, "Yeah, we're the best team in the West." They're the one
Yeah.
seed, right? Were they the one seed right now?
I think they were. I thought they were the two. I don't know.
I thought they jumped this. I don't remember. It's
I think they did, but
everybody's like within 1 or 2 games of each other right
yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah. We
from
were
like
we were
one all
eight
the way
games
to
out.
9.
Yeah,
But
something like that.
yeah, I have no problem with him saying that. I mean, he could say what he wants. All he's got to do is look at his record against BI, and and he should be worried. But
I mean, listen, they blew us the fuck out the last time they played us too. So he's probably looking at that game like, oh yeah, we got their number. I ain't worried about them. So I get it.
we
And
also didn't we beat them without Zion?
we did. We did. They're second right now. We're third. The Nuggets are in first. Now technically
Nuggets.
them and the Nuggets have the same record, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Although to be fair, I don't think either one of us has had a full lineup when we've played each other.
No, I don't think so.
Because I want to say Jaren Jackson was out for them.
We've been so eerily similar in
Yeah,
general.
that's what I saw somebody post an article today about like Schmidt. I think Schmidt shared it, maybe. I don't know. just like the Pelicans, I think it was David Fisher actually. Pelicans and Memphis are like breaking. So like the worst teams in the league play their rookies and second year players more than anybody.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
a
saw that.
yeah, and it's like the two teams that are like the exception to the rule are us and Memphis, and we're kind of like aging together
Yeah.
and just like growing on the same path, which is cool because you could definitely see like for the foreseeable future like that becoming a rivalry. Like if 3 years from now it was like the second time the Grizzlies and Pels had met in the Western Conference Finals, you'd be like, all right,
Yeah, it makes
that makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
You know,
It's one of those things you kind of alluded to it earlier too. I think it's going to come down to like who keeps their team together, right? Like do you pull a OKC and kind of trade away a piece? You don't want to pay everybody, you know. You got to pick the right guys to keep together. So who's able to do that and just
the
who's
one
able to be the Golden State Warriors, you know?
the one advantage we have is we have a bunch of things we can cash in
Yeah.
without giving up major key players. For so like we have draft picks for days, and we could give up some role players to get another big piece, whereas they would have to give up one of their big time players to get somebody
Yeah.
because they don't have the. I mean, they got their own draft picks. You could trade as many of your own draft picks as you want.
Yeah,
You
just
know,
don't tell the Lakers that.
right? No, they did that. They,
No, no. Oh,
uh, but yeah,
oh man. Um, I don't know how long. I think we've been going here for a little bit. Let's switch up topics.
I don't like not being able to tell.
I know I was just thinking that I didn't look at the time when we started. I think we're probably about 20 minutes in. 15,
You
20.
can't tell either.
No, I have no
I
idea.
don't know how Zoom works. You would think 3 years into or 4 years into COVID, whatever it is, I would at least have somewhat of an idea.
No, it doesn't tell me at all.
Oh well.
Um,
So I know you said you don't really know much about the World Cup, but I just want to mention this because I feel like I owe soccer an apology. Did you watch
oh,
Did you watch the final?
what day was that? I was,
No, you weren't. You were. I think that was the day you flew out.
yeah,
I owe
yeah,
soccer an apology. I know. I know every game is not like that, but that may be the best like sporting event I've ever witnessed live, like
yeah,
on television. That was unbelievable. Like I was hooked from. Well, to be fair, like the first like 70 minutes of the game were kind of boring, and then after that, it was like the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like I was on the edge of my seat for a soccer game, and if you didn't appreciate soccer before that moment, like you have to now. Like that was amazing. It was one of the best things I've ever seen, and like going along with Twitter with it was so much fun. It was a
yeah. I didn't.
blast.
I definitely missed it. I did not see it. It was during my trip. I just don't remember what day. And there was a game that came on right after it. Fuck.
It was yeah. They went from that to Jags in Dallas,
That's what it was.
which actually ended up being pretty damn good. But I said like so that day had Jags Dallas. Uh, I think that day had the Vikings
Yeah,
also.
it was Saturday. That's what it was.
Yeah, so you had all that stuff happen in that day, and still the best thing that happened that day was the World Cup. Like
Yeah,
there's people who like that I listen to that like love soccer, like wake up on the weekends to watch Premier League games and everything. And they're saying this was the best soccer game they've ever seen.
maybe I should go back and watch it.
It
I
was
gotta
so
check
much
it out.
fun. It was so fun. That's all. I owed soccer an apology, so I had to you know,
Noted.
when
Noted.
you're wrong and you gotta admit it.
Yeah, file it
So
away. It'll go somewhere into the official, redaction file cabinet somewhere.
right.
Dave apologized. Um, does your wife have a cabinet like that somewhere? It was just Dave's apologies. She opens it and it's just fucking cobwebs.
You think I apologize?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's just full of
No.
cobwebs.
Yeah.
Um, fuck, what was I gonna say? I had a thought. And now I lost it. Oh, the fucking Colts, since you mentioned it. Like, good lord. That was my favorite thing. I'm not gonna lie. My favorite thing about that Saturday. We were flying in and I was watching that game on the plane. Um, and they were getting killed, obviously. And we land, and my dad's like, "Did you see the Colts game?" And I'm like, "Did I?" he's like, he's like, dude, how the hell did the Colts jump out 33-0? They kicked their ass. I was like, when's the last time you looked at the score? He's like, what are you talking about? So he
That's
pulls it up
awesome.
in front of me and he's like, you got to be shitting me.
That's awesome. I love that. There was a small part, like a part of me wanted the Vikings to come back for Matt Ryan to have both the biggest Super Bowl loss and biggest regular season comeback, like be on the losing end of both of those. And like a part of me wanted it to happen just because it's cool to see a team come back from that. But then there was another part of me that just wanted the Vikings to get their heart ripped out in overtime. Like after coming back from all of that, just lose. I will always have a sore spot for the Vikings.
It's funny too because it was against Matt Ryan, like Vikings and Matt Ryan in the same game.
Yeah.
Um, I I told my wife and I kind of talked about this the other day after that game. I'm almost at a point where I pity Matt Ryan. Like, I just retire, man. Just
I
just
don't I
hang
don't
him
mind
up.
Matt Ryan.
I don't either. Like, I don't hate him anymore. I just feel bad for the
And you
dude.
know
Like,
what? I never hated him.
I never
Like
hated him.
you
I
hate
just
there were players on the Falcons that I hate, like Roddy
Roddy
White.
White.
Yeah. But then there's some where you're like, all right, I respect it. Like Matt Ryan doesn't talk. Like he just goes out there and plays, you know? So like it wasn't like you hated him, but it was we actually said in the offseason we would have taken it.
Probably. I'd probably no, I wouldn't actually.
No,
Let me
not
take that
now.
back.
Yeah, not now, but in the
Fucking,
offseason we were like, I'd have taken Matt Ryan. Thank God.
I don't know. Now with Andy Dalton being a top 5 quarterback,
That's right.
let's fucking
So
go.
Jameis versus Andy. What do you
Not doing that.
no.
Oh man, transfer portal. Let's talk transfer portal.
Let's talk.
Uh, everyone and their fucking grandma went in the transfer portal. Even the Jackson State kids who pretended they weren't going to go to weren't going to go to Colorado. Oh, announced my what's his name, the
Travis
DB
Travis
Travis
Hunter.
Hunter.
That
Yeah,
was the most. Did you? He had a he did that the whole 100K subscriber thing, but he put I didn't subscribe to him because I wasn't giving him the satisfaction. But he so I went to his YouTube to see if he had reached 100K yet, and he posted a video like the day he announced he was going to the transfer portal, and he's like I'm entering the portal. I know everybody wants me to follow Coach Prom. He's like, I want to follow Coach Prom, but I got to make sure it's the right fit. You know, I'm not just gonna jump into it. And I'm like, dude, just do it. Like, we know what you're doing. Like, stop making a show of this. And
right.
there was never ever a chance he was going anywhere else.
It was like I think when they announced Shadur, I can't even fucking. But yeah, when they announced him, I was like, oh no shit, he's
Well,
in Colorado too.
yeah, Dion announced it before they even played their bowl game. he said, yeah, this is your quarterback.
It's like,
Imagine
oh
being
boy,
Colorado's quarterback and just being like, the fuck,
fuck,
bro.
fuck me.
Yeah.
Guess I'm done. Let me hit that
Oh,
portal. No, but no, portal's been crazy. I think the one thing that I love the most is the AAC does not look like it's going to be a bad conference next year. And that was one thing I was really worried about. That portal has lit up for the AAC. They've gotten some really good commits.
SMU has
Not just Tulane. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
SMU has become Miami, Texas. Like the Texas, they
Yeah,
literally. So I mean, it's all for anybody who doesn't know. Rhett Lashley was the offensive coordinator at Miami before last year. So he basically took all the guys he recruited that left Miami in the transfer portal and just brought them to SMU. He's got, I think it's definitely 4 people. It might be 5 that he took
yeah,
from Miami to SMU with him. And they're all like they weren't good enough to play at Miami, but they're definitely good enough to play in the AAC. Like they probably should all be in Power 5 teams. They just didn't really get a lot of playing time at Miami.
yeah.
So they didn't have the film. So they end up at SMU. But
Good for them.
in his offense, they're going to be really good. SMU's the team to watch, I think.
Roll wave.
Yeah, that's well
No,
outside of two, obviously.
I am.
Michael
I
Pratt's coming
definitely.
back, baby.
I know that's something I was gonna say. I'm definitely paying attention to SMU though. I mean, the big dogs leave the conference. I say the big dogs. The champs are still here, so big dogs are staying. But the other guys that people considered the big dogs in years past are leaving the conference. So it's like it looks like a clear path for Tulane, right? And SMU's coming in saying not so fast in the Lee Corso, not so fast. Uh,
Is UTSA AAC too?
yeah, I think so.
They are.
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
on. I think they had like I want to say it was like top 40, top 50 recruiting class,
Yeah,
which is
it's
good
them.
for AAC.
It's them, SMU, and Tulane. Actually, Tulane has the third best. They're not even like they have a good class, but they're not.
Yeah.
You know.
Now they don't take transfers into consideration for that.
Yeah,
So I think they may take like JUCO transfers into consideration, but I don't think they take like the Miami guys into SMU's.
I didn't
And
know that.
I don't know who to. There's some sites that account for it, but I don't know that they all do, and I don't know how much weight it has, to it. But I
Yeah,
listened to a bunch of Miami like recruiting pods, and they mentioned it that it's weird
yeah.
how they handle it.
I I actually need to find a good Tulane pod. I was actually we were joking around about inviting someone on the podcast this week since we were remote, and we threw around Maddie's name. We didn't even reach out to you. So if you're watching, hey, should have been here. Um, I what we should have done, and maybe we still can, an episode just covering the lead up to the bowl game, recruiting. Do we have another week? We might not.
I'll need another
Um,
week. We can drop a midweek one.
we could. We'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just spitballing. This is not guaranteed at all, guys. But that's what I wanted to do. So I think that would be really cool just to get a better understanding. I had some questions too. Have you seen, speaking of Michael Pratt coming back, have you seen that he's got a boot on when he
Yeah,
announced the other day?
that was what I said when they announced that. I was like, I think the big news here is this big ass
Yeah.
boot on his foot.
Yes. I didn't even see you tweet that. I haven't really been on Twitter as much lately, but yeah, that was the first thing I saw. I was like, what the fuck is going on with that boot? Is he okay? Is he playing in the bowl game? Like, there's more questions I have right now.
There hasn't been any news that he's not, so I'm assuming it's just something minor, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right.
Yeah, the one. So I said transfer portal in college football in my notes just because I mean this is going to be way too long of a conversation if we get deep into this, but I was really more so looking at it like big picture. Like, do you think it's good for like the state of college football right now? Like,
Um,
so the transfer portal and like the NIL stuff. Like, obviously, we both think players should be paid, whatever. Like, I've never asked you that, but I know that's how
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you feel.
I I think it's dangerous. And I think it's I don't know if it's like bad. It's good because like these players are gonna get an opportunity to get paid, right? I think it's definitely gonna harm some smaller schools when they get lucky and they have a big time guy come in, like not Michael Pratt, but who's Duke have? What the fuck's that guy's name? May? Um,
North Carolina.
North Carolina, not Duke. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever, blue. Um, um, but no, it definitely can hurt schools like that right now where like there's no rules to any type of collusion. There's no rules to like tampering or whatever. Like you can literally like the dude we were talking about earlier that transferred from Jackson State to follow Dion. Like Florida State was reaching out to him behind the scenes before he was even in the portal. Like this shit's happening all the time, and they can literally reach out, offer money, do whatever they want. And I think that in that sense is a little bad. Like maybe there needs to be some rules around the portal and around
Yeah.
NIL and how they work together, but they're still going
Yeah.
to do it.
I agree. I think overall, like the idea of a transfer portal, the idea of NIL is good for the overall sport, the players. But yeah, I think there's gonna have to be some regulation because it's just like the wild, wild west out there right now.
Yeah,
Like I don't know. I don't know what the fix is. I mean, I do think it's kind of ridiculous that a guy can transfer like four times. Or like,
yeah,
well, he or they always. I know they only get the one free one where they can transfer with no penalty, but they always find loopholes and stuff to transfer like a few times. And then they got guys like there's a quarterback that just committed to Florida who like originally had committed to one team, got an NIL from them, then switched to Miami, got an NIL deal from Miami, then switched from Miami to Florida, got a like it's like all right, it's getting out of hand. It feels
right.
like I think I've mentioned it before, I think, where you just give like every team say this is the X amount of money you have to spend on NIL. Use it how you want. maybe your quarterback gets this much. So it's like a salary cap
Right.
almost. Because college football, like 5 years from now, it's just going to be like semi-pro football,
That's what it feels
essentially.
like.
I mean, you got free agency in the transfer portal because so like you're talking about Drake May. What
Right.
happened was like he tried to leave North Carolina, basically put his name out there as a transfer to see what he could get as an NIL deal, and then at North Carolina matches it essentially, and he's like, all right, I'll stay in North Carolina. So they're just like trying to find the best deal, and
Which
it's all it is.
I
It's
don't blame
fine.
him.
Like, go get
Like,
your money.
right.
Every big player should do that. That's all it is right now. Like, it's semi-pro football with free agency,
Right.
essentially, with no draft. You just
Do you
you get to
think
pick the players you want.
do you think I saw somebody tweeted earlier, I think it was a coach from somewhere. It was a very like small tweet, like had like a couple of, by the way, Twitter adding like the how many people viewed your tweet thing. I don't like it. Get rid of it.
I agree.
It had a couple of views. It had a couple of likes. I don't even know who this guy was. I don't follow him. It just randomly popped up on my timeline. But he basically said that like this is really bad for high school kids coming out. I wanted to know why. I'm trying to wrap my brain around why. And I think what he's getting at is that it's killing recruitment, basically. Like it doesn't matter.
I don't know. It depends. So, like, maybe for like the lower guys, because if you think about it, like, so we got Miami's got a 5-star cornerback that had committed verbally but hasn't signed his thing. He was supposed to sign yesterday, and he like pushed it back. They don't know if he's going to sign or not now, and it's between like us, Alabama, and Florida, and they're saying Colorado, and it's like, all right, NIL wise, if you're the number 2 player in your class, like everybody's throwing you money. Like,
Yeah.
if you might get more, a little bit more from a school, but it's not. You would think it's not going to be enough to be like if he really wants to go to Bama, he's not going to choose Bama because Miami or choose Miami because they're offering him like 100K more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, when you get to those top level guys, like it's almost like they're going to get the money, some level of money. So at that point, it's like, all right, where do I want to play the most? Where can I win? Where can I do this? Now the lower level guys, where it's like their one chance to cash in, maybe it's affecting them. Where like, I really want to go here, but this school's offering me money,
Right.
so I'm going to go there. I don't know. I think it kind of messes up the high school stuff because there's already like reports of like, so some schools do a NIL collective where it's just a group of people paying money to somebody, and like the collectives aren't following through with what they promised the kids.
Mm.
So like the kids are committing to schools thinking they're getting the deals, and then they're not following through. So like kids are getting screwed on it. And then but on, I mean, on the other end, you have kids like Miles Brennan, when he left LSU, still had like 3 NIL deals in place, and because they can't be tied to him going to LSU, he still gets them. So
Mm.
he's like, that's like him not following through with his end. Now, whether he actually keeps the money or not, I don't know. Not trying to say Miles Brennan did anything wrong. It's just like, it's on both ends of it.
Miles Brennan's doing just fine with money. I
No,
promise you.
that's fine. Good for him.
um, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because like you said, they can't tie it to them actually going to the school. So like in my head, I was like, oh, it's like a contract. Like, why don't you just write it like a contract? Like, hey, if I do this, then you give me the money, and vice versa, right? But like if they can't tie it to like actually playing for the school, then what?
Then maybe, I mean, maybe that's the solution. Like, maybe like these schools, it feels like the NCAA is becoming somewhat irrelevant. Like, they have no
Oh,
power.
totally.
So at some point, you think maybe the schools just are like, yeah, we don't need the NCAA. You know what I mean? Like, they can just do without them. These, at least the big schools, like the
They
SEC.
they could. They totally
So
could.
so maybe they get to the point where they're like, all right, we can pay players to come to our school. And there's a contract where we're like, hey, we'll sign you to a 2-year deal, but you have to stay here for 2 years.
Right.
Like,
And it's
you can transfer after your 2 years, but in those 2 years, you have to be here.
well, and the bigger, that's another interesting point. The bigger these conferences get, right? The bigger the SEC gets, or like the bigger these other conferences get, they definitely don't need the NCAA because now it's not just 8 schools randomly saying, "Hey, screw you, we're going to pay our players." It's fucking 20,
Yep.
and it's the 20 biggest schools. So it's like, yeah,
Well, even like, I mean, even like Tulane, if you don't think Tulane's giving NIL deals to people,
oh, they are,
it's lower level,
yeah,
but all these schools are paying somebody. It might only
yeah,
be Dude, there's NIL deals like as low as like $500.
Yeah, I'm sure that. I
So,
mean, I don't know anything about them at Tulane, but like I'm sure they're
oh
getting
yeah, I don't know
something.
either, but they are. So, yeah, I don't know. It was just we could do a whole episode on the state of college football.
You probably could.
So,
Um,
um,
all right,
I got some lighter topics. You want to run through them because I'm sure we've been going for a little while.
we have. Yeah, I was gonna try and wrap it up. What you got?
All right. Well, I already mentioned stores are skipping holidays. I don't like that, so we don't have to keep talking about it. But how how many songs would you say, if any, that you know every word to? Is that something that's a common thing for you to know every word to a song? Not if I was just like, hey, start singing this song right now, word for word. But if you had a song playing, how many songs could you say you could just rattle off
Five.
every? Really?
Yeah, like
That's
five.
it?
Yeah, it's not that many. I
As
like
much
every
as
single word.
yeah, I mean, as much as you've told me you're into music, I would just assume
I
there's
mean,
like hundreds.
it's probably way more than five, but like I'm definitely lowballing. I want to make sure. I know for sure there's like five that I know every single word. I
So
don't.
let's not even say like every single word. So like if a song comes on, you pretty much can sing along with it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you miss a word or two, but you know the majority of the song.
Oh yeah. Thousands.
Right. Okay, so I'm asking you because I mentioned I don't even know. I think what happened was so there's like a new feature on Apple Music where you can pull up a song. It's called Apple Music Sing, and a thing pops up on the right. It's like a little microphone. You tap it, you can turn the volume down on it, and what it does is it takes the people singing out of the song. It makes any song a karaoke song.
Oh wow.
So it takes it's basically just the instrumentals. So I was talking to this guy at work about it. I was like, this is cool. I was like, everybody, you can do karaoke with anything. He's like, and he ended up saying, he's like, there's not a single song I think I know every word to. I was like,
Tequila.
what?
Sorry. Tequila.
That caught me so off guard. I don't know what you're talking about right now. But anyway, I was like, that blows my mind because to me, I told him I was like, if you give me any early like late '90s, early 2000s country song, I'm good. Like I could
Oh
probably if you
yeah.
tell me like the first five words of the song, I probably don't
Dude,
need anything else,
you know
and
what's
I could
funny?
go word for word.
I said five, and then as soon as you said early 90s, it like
Dude, it's
unlocked
hundreds.
this whole other thing in my head. And then you said country, and I was like, oh fuck. And
It's
it's like,
hundreds, dude. I
yeah,
guarantee.
yeah, yeah.
Like, if there's a song saved on a playlist in my phone, I know every word of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I was wondering, like, he maybe, I just assumed like that was a thing that people, like a lot of people were like me, where you just know hundreds of songs word for word.
No, there's a lot
But
of people that aren't extremely like music, like they aren't, how do I say it? They're just not musical. Like
yeah,
they're not musically inclined. If that makes
I think
sense.
I was telling him, I'm like, maybe this is why. Like, there's rarely a time where I don't have music playing somewhere. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm walking around my house, like, if it's not on a speaker, like, it might be in a headphone. So I always have music on when I'm doing something. So maybe that's just why, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting that there are people out there that are like, yeah, I don't know a single song.
That's yeah, blows my mind. Or like people that don't have rhythm, that also blows my mind. Which to be fair, when I was younger, I didn't have rhythm, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
I don't
It took
know.
me time.
I don't think I have the most rhythm. I think I'm okay. Middle of the pack, mid rhythm.
There you go. I had to learn. Have you ever seen Drumline?
Yeah.
You see the where the white guy's like banging the drum and he's like just terrible, has no rhythm. And he's like, you're not banging it right or something. I forget how they said it, but that was legitimately me. Like I was in the drum section. I was like a freshman and I had no rhythm. And it took me a year to get rhythm, but I got there slowly. Now I've got way
uh,
more, but it is what it is. That's what playing music will do for you. Um, what else you got? Anything else, or you want to do? I had a question for you.
you you got any overrateds, underrateds, or properly rated?
Yeah, yeah, we'll do that. What are your thoughts on hot chocolate?
I don't like hot chocolate at all.
All right. So would you say it's
I don't.
overrated?
Yes, very overrated. This is the same. It's almost the same as the s'more situation for me. I don't. I don't love. I mean, I'll eat. I do like chocolate, but I don't. I gotta really be craving chocolate to want it. And then I just don't like hot chocolate. Like that's not for me at all. Now, if there was like a hot white chocolate drink, then you talking my language. I love white chocolate.
I agree. I think
Oh,
hot chocolate is overrated, and I do love chocolate.
interesting.
But because of that, I actually have looked up because we had this whole like Christmas Eve party planned, and we were going to invite friends and family over and do all these things. I was going to make all these drinks, and I was excited. Now it's just going to be the three of us because I'm sick, and I don't want to get anybody else sick. Um, so I'm looking into like non-alcoholic drinks I can make. That way, I'm not the only one drinking alcohol.
I will be drinking alcohol with you.
Well, you won't be here, so it's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about
No, that's separate, completely separate. We'll keep that
okay,
for
sorry,
another
sorry.
time. Uh, so no, but I looked up hot chocolate recipes, and I found one that I'm going to try, and I'm going to kind of doctor it up. So if you see a really pretty hot chocolate, hit the timeline. That was me.
Hmm,
I made it. We'll see what
interesting.
happens. It's going to have like coconut cream.
Ugh.
Whoa, see, you're like, that's fucked up.
I don't
It's
like
gonna
coconut.
look. It's gonna look
I'm the
great.
wrong person to ask about stuff like that though, because like I don't coconut is awful to me. I'm a very picky person, or
Yeah.
was. I was a very picky person. I'm way better now, but there's still stuff where I'm just like, nah. And it's stuff like everybody likes, like cinnamon. Don't like cinnamon.
Oh yeah.
But that's why I don't eat king cake because I don't like
I
cinnamon.
I do like cinnamon. You don't even eat king cake, but your damn grandma ruins.
Callbacks. That's what we call
Yeah.
that.
Oh
uh,
man. Okay. Next one. Fuck, I had it off the top of my head. Olive Garden.
underrated.
Yeah. Tell me more.
I Olive Garden chicken Alfredo or chicken fettuccine, whatever they call it, is fantastic. And those breadsticks, I could eat about 17 of them.
They're
But
free.
yeah, they just keep them coming. Don't even ask me the question if I want more. Yes, the answer is always yes.
All right.
Underrated.
I'm gonna answer this because I definitely have an answer and I have something to say about it. But since you said something about since we're talking about the breadsticks from there or Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster.
The breadsticks from Olive Garden.
Dude, Cheddar Bay biscuits are fucking phenomenal.
I
Or
mean, to be
we're
fair,
just gonna go down the line here.
I've only had Red Lobster maybe twice in my life.
Red Lobster's dog shit, but
Yeah.
but the biscuits are phenomenal. Um, anyways, I was gonna say underrated for Olive Garden, but it's not necessarily for the same reason. I think I would say underrated for literally any chain restaurant, and here's why.
Except
As
Applebee's.
any chain restaurant, I know, and I know you're like, no. Here's why. As a kid, it's all I knew. You know, the other day, that thing was going on Twitter where it was like, what was your place you went to celebrate? And it was like CC's, Applebee's, like all these random chain restaurants. As a kid, those places were phenomenal.
Yeah.
When I was 19, that's where I went with my dates. When I was 21, like I didn't still go there all the time, but
Olive Garden was a nice date.
I'm just saying. Um, and then something happened, and I live in New Orleans, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna be a little bougie. I'm gonna go try this random place I heard about. And then it just became this thing where I had to try a new place after new place. And I stopped going to the little chain restaurants. And now, even when I drive past one, if somebody's like, hey, you want to go eat there? It's almost like I just like scoff. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You want to
Bro,
go eat at Olive Garden?
we
Like,
haven't we haven't gone like with now that Courtney's like towards the end of her pregnancy, like she doesn't want to go anywhere. She's just always uncomfortable.
yeah.
So, but like in normal times, we go to Chili's at least
Yeah.
once a month.
You
At
told
least once a month.
you remember you
We
told me that once. You were like, yeah, I'm going to Chili's. And I was like, why?
we love Chili's, dude. I'm part of it is because we know there's stuff there that Casey will eat. Like you know, like when you become
Oh
a
yeah.
parent, you have to plan shit around what your kids are gonna eat. And we know he'll eat stuff from there. But we love Chili's, dude. Like their queso. Like I'll go to Chili's once a week if I had to. I'm cool with
So
it.
look, that's the thing for me though. I'm gonna call them underrated, and I call them underrated because I wish I still appreciated them the way I did when I was younger because they're cheaper,
Yeah.
they're easier, and your kids will eat shit there.
Right. Well, so what real quick, what was your celebration spot?
I don't know if I necessarily had one. It was probably CC's. Like
My mom,
if I had to pick one.
yeah, dude, CC's to this day, I love CC's. I like when I go to my trainings, I would go by myself, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to eat CC's by myself today because that's what I want for lunch. Because
Yeah.
nobody else in my family likes as much as I do. But my mom, every year for my birthday, like before Katrina, when I was in elementary school, she would check me out of school for lunch on my birthday, and we go to CC's.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
like,
I think it wasn't just CC. So it kind of varied. Like when I was little, very little, you used to do the thing where like the coaches would take you out after your baseball game or whatever. And we would go to whatever the pizza I
yeah.
grew up in Slidell. I went to SBBA for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go to like there was like
Sicily's.
I think probably Sicily's. There was like a Pizza Hut buffet. There was like a
Yep.
couple different
Oh,
places.
Pizza Hut buffets. What a time.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Little Caesars. We went there a few times
Yeah.
way back
Yes.
in the day.
CC's was our spot. And then Ryan's, like a family thing.
Oh
We'd
yeah.
always go to Ryan's.
Yeah. My dad loved Ryan's. When we lived in Slidell, that was the go-to, man.
Yeah.
See, you're getting the dirty Dell out of me. Not a lot of people know that I lived in Slidell for
I didn't know you lived in Slaughter.
9 years of my life. And then I moved to
I was gonna say this is before or after New Orleans. It
this
had to
is
be
before.
before.
This is when
Yeah.
I was a baby. I grew up in Slidell until I was 9. And then I moved over to Old Jefferson and then, you know, came a Metairie rat somehow. River Ridge, Metairie, Jefferson, Uptown, wherever. But yeah, let's see. I got a whole list, but we don't have to go through a bunch of them. Let's do one
Feels like
more.
we've been recording for like 2 hours, but I know it's not that long.
Nah, it's probably not that long. It's probably like an hour. Oh, we already did that one. Did we do Santa Claus?
No.
Let's do Santa Claus. Properly rated, underrated, overrated.
Properly rated. I mean, you're not gonna get me to call Santa Claus overrated. But I mean, if you think it's overrated, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
So
Cause
I don't think it's overrated, but I almost want to play like Skip Bayless right now on reality TV and be the opposite of whatever you're gonna say and just form an argument.
I'm gonna say properly rated, but I don't know like why I'm saying like what about Santa Claus am I rating here? Because it's the idea of Santa Claus is great for kids, but I've seen people in the past say like you should tell your kids that you got the presents, that they know like you worked hard for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've got that in the back of my head because like we tell him that Santa Claus is coming and bringing him presents or whatever. But I understand that. Like I understand the idea of being like, yeah, we worked hard for this. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know. I don't like people that don't want their kids to believe in Santa.
No. So
You're
listen,
a terrible person.
if I have to give an honest answer, I'm gonna say underrated because I think honestly, I think that there's something extremely special when it comes to having a kid believe in any form of magic or any person believe in any form of magic. If you can make somebody feel special through something as nonsensical as a overweight man in a red suit giving you presents, like it's just special, right? The whole
Yeah.
mystique around that, him coming down the chimney or flying with reindeer, like it's all special. It's a cool story to tell kids,
Yeah.
and it makes people happy.
It's
So
fun.
if you're someone that takes Santa Claus away from people, stop. Okay. Now, if
I'm
you
with
want me to
you.
give the other answer I was going to give to be a jerk, I don't actually believe. Why does he get all the fucking credit?
So
That's all I
you
was
know
going to
what?
say.
My mom used to tell us, like my mom, my grandma used to tell us that they were going to pay Santa.
Okay,
Is
that's
how they
interesting.
used to tell us.
I don't like that though.
I mean, it didn't affect me either way. I was just like, all right, like I just want the present. I don't care,
Right.
you know. But that's what they used to tell us, and I don't think they were doing it to be like, yeah, this is our money buying these presents. I think it was just more so their excuse to be like, because they'd always tell us like when they would have to leave during Christmas time to go shopping, they'd be
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, I got to go pay Santa. So like, that's what they were doing. I don't think it was them saying, yeah, we're spending the money on these presents, but Santa's bringing them. Like that wasn't their thought process.
That's
But
funny.
no, I'm with you, man. Just let kids have fun. Like we just did the whole like I went put him to sleep because like I said, we're doing Christmas tomorrow. I went put him to sleep and I was like, we forgot to do milk and cookies. I went wake his little ass up and I was like, hey, we gotta go do milk and cookies. Get up.
Yeah. We can't not put cookies out for Santa.
Right.
Get your ass up.
He was like, what? I'm like, come on. He was so excited. And like he's got a little tray and it's got a spot for carrots for Rudolph. I didn't have nothing but shredded carrots to go on top of a salad. I was like, you know what? Take a handful, throw them out there.
That reminds me, as soon as we finish this, I have to go find reindeer food, which we have packed up somewhere.
Mm,
It's like a whole bag of it. I don't know where I put it. My wife's freaking out about it. So,
yeah. No,
oh,
I got nothing else, man. I
me
don't know
either.
how long we've been recording.
Long
Feels like a
enough.
while.
Definitely long enough. It's been about an hour, I think, maybe a little less. But that's it. You guys can follow us on Twitter. Actually, follow us everywhere. We're everywhere now. We've always been everywhere, but like we're actually posting everywhere now, I believe.
Except Instagram. I gotta get better at Instagram.
I could probably help out a bit. Once I'm not sick and not dying and not flying,
I need
then
to
I
do
could
better job of putting clips out for the previous episode, like not the day we record the next episode.
I know, I
Like
noticed that. Putting out clips
it's
today, I
not
was like,
that
fuck.
it's the sad part is it's not even that hard for me to the clips are kind of a struggle to be like to piece together, but not a struggle, but it's a little bit more work than like putting out the whole segments. That's just like clip,
Right.
bam, put it out. But I'm just like, I'll do it later in the week. And then 3 days later, I'm like, well, shit, we're about to record again tomorrow.
So follow us everywhere, every platform at Who Effing Knows. You can catch this podcast really anywhere. Like he said, he posted everywhere. It's on YouTube mainly, but it's Spotify, wherever you want to get your material. It's there. Follow Dave. Don't follow me. I'm boring. Follow Dave. What's your Twitter?
At the Dave Rainey.
There you go. I'm at the Patty V. Also follow at B in the know. And
I'll try,
what's that?
I'll try to talk Patty into a little Tulane preview pod.
Yeah, we could do that.
Before the next pod.
We'll try and do that.
We'll see.
I got time.
It's gonna be
This
13
is
degrees.
Christmas.
We're gonna be stuck in the house.
I'm gonna be drunk, probably. No, I'm not. I'm getting over a cold. I'm not gonna drink it all.
Uh,
Fuck. Coffee.
anyway.
All right. Y'all take care. Until next time. I got nothing.
Later.
Who effing knows?
Deuces.
All right, let me stop recording.